Alright guys, so I'm making a quick video for whoever is thinking about doing a single turbo setup on a 3000 GT. It seems very complicated, but it's actually not that complicated as it seems. It's actually easier than the twin turbo, believe it or not. So this setup is something that I did myself. It took me about maybe 3 different setups to actually get it somewhat right. Did everything myself, did my own researches and stuff like that, and I built out my pipings, the ones that I did before. Everything I tested on a dyno, and I know the weak points or whatever I needed to correct. So far this one seems to be flowing pretty well. So as you can see, all you need is the manifold to this heads. You need the manifold to that heads. The collectors for right here. Turbo sits right here. The wastegate is right there. And then your dump pipe. It's a little tight to fit the dump pipe back there, but if you know to fabricate a little bit, you'll get it down there. And then now for the intercooler pipings, it's coming straight off the turbo, right back to the intercooler in the front. Alright. This planner I put together myself also. So this time turn it on the driver's side. And all you're doing is running off the throttle body back down to the intercooler. That's about it. So now if you have a twin turbo setup, you know you're gonna have return lines on both sides of the oil pans. So what I did was I went ahead and this is perfect. I went ahead and so this is one of the return lines, right? I went ahead and I cut this section off. This section right here, I went ahead and I cut it off, and I welded it shut. Welded shut, and then that's what I use to cover the return line on the rear of the oil pan. Okay, so now on the front, I'm only running the return on the front of the oil pan. So under here, under the turbo, you see under here, the return line comes from there and goes down to the oil pan, which is an AN10 fitting. All right, so now this is the feed line. Before I was running the feed line from the front, but I wasn't getting enough oil pressure to the turbo, so that's how I ended up messed up one of my turbos. If you're running an eBay turbo, you will find getting away with it because you don't need too much oil flow to the turbo. But running Precision or running one of those cam turbos, ball bearing turbos or stuff like that. So I went ahead and I run the feed line to the oil pump where the rear turbo oil feed line was coming from. I went ahead and I run the feed line from the turbo back there, and then this one in the front, I went ahead and I blocked this one off. So block the oil feed line off in the front, and then use the one in the rear by the oil pump. Pretty much that's about it. And then I went ahead and I used 2 skinny fans. So if you check this out, this is originally the AC fan. I went ahead and used another AC fan on that side also. I'm just wired up for it to work. The fuse box, I went ahead and I dropped the fuse box lower. You could drop the fuse box lower because right here where the wires and stuff is, it has like a black rubber piece that's really thick there. Once you remove it, you'll be able to free it up, and then you could be able to lower the fuse box down a little bit lower. Delete everything from off the firewall that I don't need, like stop boost, sensor or stuff like that. I don't need none of those. Cruise control deleted. I'm not running any AC because I don't really drive this car on a daily basis. So I either drive this car to either the track or to a car meet. Otherwise, from that, this car I spend the whole time parking up. So went ahead and I did that. So AC is removed. Not running any AC. And if you notice down here, I'm not running the AC compressor either. AC compressor is gone. So I did an AC compressor delete, so I'm running a smaller belt. So no AC compressor. That's gone. All right, so I went ahead also, now I'm doing an oil catch can. So I welded a bung onto here. Everything in here is already digged out, like I poured it out a little bit bigger, run an AN10 fitting, and if you look on the rear valve cover, I'm also running an AN10 fitting right there. And the old pan and the old catch can is sitting up there. So I'll put the old catch can up there. Old catch can I made myself also. So all this thing is something that I learned. I'm practicing on welding. My welding is not perfect, but it worked. That's all that matters. It's not the prettiest, but it works. So fuel, the fuel system. So now you have your fuel filter on that side, regulator, everything is on this side. So because I want to move everything away from the heat, I moved it to this side. So all you do is rotate everything. So now I'm running the fuel line. I end up running it this way. So the feed is coming up through this one. sorry. Okay, so the feed is coming up through here. This one I topped off, so this one is where it's circling for both fuel rails. Eventually I'm going to change this to where it has a Y feed in and a Y to return, but for right now this is functioning just fine, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So fuel pressure regulator is on this side, so I moved everything to this side so everything move away from the heat. I'm running a standalone, so the mouth sensor is on this side. So yeah, so far this is everything on the single turbo. Hopefully I made everything as simple as possible. It's not that complicated. Once you remove everything out of your car, all the twin turbo setups, move all of that off the car, you're gonna have pretty much a plain engine where you can look at what you need to do. A lot of mistake people made, which I made the same mistake, is hooking up the turbo manifold, everything, and forget about the shifter cable. The shifter cable, you have to wrap it. So I went ahead and I wrapped mine with heat tape. And I went ahead and put another heat plate over it because I melted 2 shifter cables by ignoring that. So I ended up fixing that issue right here by wrapping it with heat tape and put a heat plate over it. And then that fixes the problem on that. So again, all you need is just these runners, both sides. Turbo sits right here. Oil feed line comes from the back, from the oil pump. You block the one off in the front. The oil return line to the front of the oil pan, block the one off in the back. And pretty much is that. You're running your intercooler pipings from the turbo and from the throttle body. That's about it. It's not that hard. Also, the radiator hose in the bottom, let's go ahead and flip the radiator hose so you have a little bit more clearance. So the part that was connected to the radiator, put it back to the water net back to there, and it kind of flip the hose for you, so it give you a little bit more clearance with the shifter cable. And then pretty much that's about it. But I did mine's a little different. I made this is pretty much hollow, there's nothing there. I'm just gonna put another hole right here for put a headlight there. And then if you notice, there's a hole back here. So I'm gonna run up to the turbo. So it's gonna be feeding through here and to the turbo. That's something else right there. But yeah, that's my single turbo setup. If you guys have any other questions, just hit me up on Instagram at Blackmambastealth, or just send me a message. As I say, anything you guys need to know. I'm not the best at this thing, but I pretty much know enough to get you guys going. So any questions, just hit me up. Feel free to ask. If I don't know, I will find the answers for you. But if you need to do a single turbo setup, just let me know. I do the manifolds also, so if you need a turbo manifold, just let me know. But I could do everything that you need. So if you want to do it yourself and you're not really sure what you're doing, just hit me up and I'll walk you through it.